What was January 6th? My short answer has always been January 6th was a violent attempt to overthrow an American election led by people who believe that election was stolen. When you're asked that broad question, Dinesh, what was January 6th? What's your answer?
My answer is that January 6th was a primal scream of protest from the right about what was widely perceived by the protesters as a stolen election. Now, we can get to the question of whether it was stolen, whether they were right or whether they were not, but these primal screams are actually customary on the left. We see them all over the place. We obviously saw them in spades and times 100, I would say, in the aftermath of the George Floyd incident. And we see them in miniature occurring, day by day. I mean, there was recently an Antifa attack on University of California at Davis. A few days prior, a judge was shouted, down with the dean's complicity at Stanford Law School. So the left has these primal screams all the time against some sort of perceived injustice. Well, here there was a perceived injustice. And I think what really frustrated the January 6th guys was they're not sort of enmeshed in American politics in the procedural or kind of mechanistic way that you and I are. They're not creatures of DC. They look and see, we think this election is prima facie stolen, and we don't see anybody even looking at it. There are courts, but the courts appear to be just doing procedural gymnastics. In other words, you're bringing the case too late. You should have brought it before the election. But when it was brought before the election, you're bringing it too early. There's been no malfeasance. So I think people thought, wait a minute, surely this is going to be looked at by somebody, if not the courts. If they're too scared to do it, maybe the legislature will. And so anyway, you got all these guys, and it's, as you know, a large group of people who came to the Trump rally. In my view, the vast, vast majority of these people were in no way dangerous. They were completely peaceful. Even of the guys who went into the Capitol, the vast majority were nonviolent. They made no violent effort to take over the government. Not one of them brought any arms with them. How do you have a violent insurrection with your body, with a flagpole? I mean, look at the actual video and believe your eyes. Look at the shaman guy. He's prancing around like an idiot. He's obviously mentally not like 100% there. He's not trying to take over Nancy Pelosi's position. He thinks it's fun to sit in her seat,